Good afternoon or evening, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum. Hello. Goeiemiddag. I'm just delighted to welcome you to the book launch of Slaansak. And I want to tell you a little bit about the reason. Let me just welcome the author first. Okay. I would like to tell everybody a little bit about our panel before we start. We've got Aisha in the white top. Aisha for you. Aisha is completing a B-Psych. Sorry, I have to change glasses. Thriller and filler time, as they say. Aisha is completing a B-Psych equivalent degree that will allow her to become a registered counselor. She has a keen interest in family preservation within dysfunctional homes and communities, in particular women subjected to domestic violence. Suraya is currently the regional capacity and small arms officer at the AIDS and Rights Alliance for Southern Africa. She has been working in the development sector for 29 years. Suraya is a journalist. She initiated Femquits, a publishing house for grassroots female writers. She is presently studying towards a master's in gender studies. Fatima Swartz is the director of programs at the Institute of Healing of Memories. Over the last couple of decades, she has worked in various contexts with issues of conflict, transformation, human rights, identity building of community solidarity, and healing. Fatima is also a cat whisperer. Okay. So, Rodney teaches geography at Elswood Secondary in Elswood. He's an avid community activist and determined to make the neighborhoods of the Cape Flats a better place for all. He's currently involved in the Bishop Lavis community in a series of projects that aim to address, among other things, numeracy, gender-based violence, and youth development. Since the onset of COVID, this organization nutrition project has fed up to 2,000 people a week. Ron is a teacher, but his passion is writing in both English and Afrikaans. I'd like to start with, before we start with the panel discussion, I'd like to call on today's guest to read us a poem. If you don't mind, sir.
Strangely enough, I'm going to read it off my phone. It's like horrified I like some Rodney. So last time I saw him, I think everyone in the store probably had phones, except for me. Okay? I'm going to drop this thing here, as I was saying to someone. Drop it here. I can even do stuff on here. Poke away at it with my finger. And now you look at my glasses off in order to see. This is for Aisha. The English of domestic violence and the domestic violence of English. Actually, I wrote it 100 years ago, 2005. I said that to Buffy. What was your response? We split infinitives, we split the atom, we split a skull. What wonderful beings we are, big men. We who are superior to all things. We crack a walnut, we crack a joke, we crack a spare rib. We blow out a candle, we blow into our hands for warmth. Those same hands that strike a blow. We strike a match, we go on strike, and come home to strike a woman and girl child. In the quiet and dark of family life, away from the glare of the public. We build confidence, we build houses, albeit matchbox one. We build relationships which we then break down like they are our matchbox houses. We march against apartheid of the statute book and of the mind. Sometimes we even march against capitalism and women and child abuse. We name our children, we name hurricanes, we call women names. We take up burning issues and write burning continues. We arrange our furniture and we arrange marriages. What wonderful beings we are, we men, we who are superior to all things.
Mama, I don't hear you. Data, Slaansak.
Oh, very well at the back here. I think you stand.
Okay. It reminds me of some aim. Mama, I only hear you. Data, Slaansak. Maar 'n klein bietjie nie so baie nie. Hierdie week was dit net so 3 keer. Ek weet, want ek het op my vingers getel. So, 1, 2, 3. Juffrou het ons geleer om tot 100 te tel, maar Sergio het net tot 50 tel. Ek weet nie so mooi wanneer Dera vir mama so geslag het nie. Ek sukkel bietjie met die taal van die kind. Juffrou sê, ek moet die kaarte saam van huis toe om die taal te leer. Mama het eers baie gehuil. Dan is my hart seer, want ek wil nie hê mama moet huil nie. Miskien het Dera al haar trane uitgespuit. Nou is mama leeg van binne. Ek is bang vir Dera. As Dera vir mama slag. Mama wil nie hê ek moet sien as Dera haar slag nie. Maar Dera worry nie. Hy slag haar sommer met die vuis voor my. So, toeftak in die gesig. Dan is daar net bloed. Net bloed. Ek hou nie van bloed nie. Ek huil baie as ek bloed sien. Sergio sê ek is 'n chunky baie. Nou is ons nie meer vriende nie, omdat Sergio nie weet hoekom ek huil nie en nog always vir my so lelike dinge sê. Mama hardloop altyd na die kamer as Dera begin werk met sy dinge. Dan maak sy die deur toe. Dera het al die deur afgeskop voor twak. Toe dit gebeur, het ek in my broek gepiepie. Dera sê ek is stout. Toe ek in my broek piepie. Toe slaat Dera my sommer met die geld voor my hele lyf. Juffrou het gehuil, toe juffrou my ruggie sê, toe die nurse ons ge-inject met die masels. Die nurse sê masels is baie gevaarlik en ons kan doodgaan as ons nie ge-inject word. Dit was 'n lang naam en ek en Sergio was baie bang. Ek was 'n klein bietjie nie banger as Sergio. Juffrou het na ons huis gekom die dag van die injeksie en ek klaar was. Mama was 'n bietjie skaam, want die huis lyk nie so mooi nie. Dis nie so grand soos daar wat juffrou bly nie. Maar ek weet juffrou verstaan. Mama sê 'n mens kan arm wees, maar nie mos nie. Thank you.
I stopped the meeting and excuse the pun, you really didn't hold back on the punches. You started immediately, and I wasn't totally prepared for that. So I had to close the book and put it aside and just digesting what you were saying and wrap my head around it. What I would like to ask you at this time.
That question has been asked of me a lot of times. And I think the main motivation for me having written the book came very recently, actually, after the release of the crime statistics by the police, where it was mentioned so casually that about 300 women were killed in the year, last year. And it didn't even make the bylines in the newspapers. It didn't cause any ripple effect any other country where there's one murder, of course, a very, very big outcry behind that population. But here in South Africa, the murdering and the brutal killing of 300 women didn't even cause any upset in our community. And I thought to myself, I started writing about gender-based violence, but this really gave me the impetus to really finish the book and start a debate on the seriousness of this matter. Coming back to your question about the graphic violence right from the outset, I think that is the sort of wake-up call that we all need. If we are in a slumber of the 300 women have been murdered by people they knew so flippantly, then definitely you need a serious wake-up call. And that's the main driving force behind having written this book. It's to start the debate and to put the seriousness of this issue on the map again, especially in our communities.
And I suppose I also want to see the way you combine the language that you use in the writing. I suppose what prompted you to write that?
I think what has happened, and David joked earlier on about the mythology and how certain things that they have done in the past have sort of been ignored, lately, like reading. Libraries were quite evident in the earlier decades, and people actually have read books. And then what we find now is that the technology actually improved to the extent where we find our youngsters busy with phones and these quick messages and everything. So the idea of writing something that would attract this audience on the Cape Flats, writing it in a language that they understand, that they live and breathe. I mean, I personally, I speak Afrikaans when I'm with my friends in Bishop Lavis. So I wanted to make this as authentic as possible for an audience that experience this firsthand. I don't have to tell anybody here how rife gender-based violence is, especially on the Cape Flats, and how normal it has become for people to accept it as just part of the culture. So I had to write something in a language that they understood and that they could relate to, and that actually compelled them to pick up a book and start to read it. I don't like the song and the voice particularly. I didn't grow up with that particular culture of reading those types of newspapers. But if you look at the major sellers in our communities, it's those types of newspapers that bring themselves across the heart. So I thought, why not write a book?
I don't know if it's
Can you please stand? We can't hear you.
oh, sorry.
Maybe you should sit forward.
Maybe the
speakers should come.
Okay, I'll speak loud. I'll try.
I was in my wheelchair a little bit. I can't stand, unfortunately.
See, you project better than I do. So it's my projection. Okay. I was also waiting on it. Okay. I was just saying, is it because, like you just said, that it becomes like a blip, a byline.
Yeah.
And it's not headlines as it should be, really. But I don't know if I'm mistaken, but I feel that it has increased in number. And not only that, the brutality. I mean, every single day, if you listen to the news or radio program, you hear a woman or a child being seriously brutalized, really. So, do you think it's on the increase? That's more.
as I stand.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a difference whether I stand or sit. That's the thing. Yes, I think that for me what was interesting about it, because and what you bring out quite clearly is that the violence against women is located in a very violent society. You know, it's not as if it is only violence against women. You locate it within the violence happens against the child, it happens at the hospital, it happens when people are busy drinking beer and so on. So the context of violence against women is that we're living in a very violent society. And we see the increase of violence in all sectors of society, whether it is about gangsterism and whatever. So it stands for reason that it would also increase, exponentially in this sector, violence against women, I thought. And I think that you weave the context of violence throughout the book in different ways, and how it culminates, but also how it is perpetuated really, and the structural nature of that violence, which I think you do quite well. And I thought it was interesting afterwards when I reflected on it, because I worked with the women in black, and we as the Institute for the Healing of Memory is supporting that organization because we feel that part of how we address the issue is about giving support to women who are trying in organizations, who are trying to make a difference in terms of changing violence, not just in its physical way, but in the way in which we address each other, when we talk to one another. And what I thought was interesting in your book was that you brought both the brutality and the beauty together, that even though our people are being brutalized, they still try to maintain some semblance of beauty. Hulle mooi koffies uit, daar staan winkels van koffie, hulle blommetjies na die cake too, and things like that, which means that there's always a pushback for me within your book. There's always a pushback, even if people don't articulate it like that, against being brutalized, And therefore, I think we easily talk about it being mobilized, but I think people see beauty, even within the brutality and the brutal life that they live. So I would agree with you, yes, there's an increase. But it's an increase which is located with an increase in a very violent society as a whole. Is that?
Yeah.
It's clear and simple. If we live in an unequal society between men and women, and this thing about it being normalized and the increase in violence, we are seeing increase because of an increase in social media, access to those kind of things. But we always live in violence. Patriarchy was always there. And I think it's located within. It's a structural problem. It is located within patriarchy, where men are given, and it's so normalized. We grow up, and even before a child is born, we already decide if you can play of that child. And so you go on, and I grew up in Bishop Lavis. Oh, she's playing then. What are you having? A boy. Oh, okay. So we go to pep stores and we go and make a name out of blue clothes. And you already decide how I must act in my community. You must act like a boy. You must act like a girl. So my future is already decided before I even enter the school. But violence has become so really normalized. And even like Rodney said earlier on, when Nene was killed, everyone was discussing that. It was a big hype. One to the next, and the week after that, people go back to normality. They are missing, kids are being killed. Why does this not shock up our comfort zone? It doesn't, because we have taught, as mothers too, have taught our boys and girls differently. So they think they are different, and they think they have different powers over women, and that happens in all of our households, even in aggressive households. And we're doing that so unconsciously
we were socialized in this way that my sister must go and wash her dishes after school, she needs to cook, and the brother is having a happy life outside playing with cars, etc. etc. So by the time he reaches a teenager, he can already drive a car. So we do this because we were socialized. And even in recent families, we still have that unconscious, that we not even know we are practice these things at home. In the Muslim families, I eat the many person. So there's so many practices that we are unaware, and we ourselves then are then contributing to a very violent society. First, because we are by our practices at home, and secondly, because we keep silent. Because of this. It happens in our families, it happens at mosques, it happens everywhere. And we are yet to address this, but it has become so normal. I just want to share one example. I used to work in an organization and we focused on gender-based violence. And because we felt that people were so desensitized and they didn't really respond to gender-based violence anymore. So we had to come up with a different angle. And we asked the journalists to record a jingle. And the jingle said, one out of four women are raped every 4 seconds. But who the fuck is? And this was on national radio, so you can swear. But we had to do this. So the next day we replayed the ad. And so the journalist again said, yesterday we ran this ad to give this statistic about how many women are killed every few seconds, and 1,000 people called in to complain about the vulgar language. No one called in for statistics. And this is where we are today. And so your question, did it increase? No, it increased because of access to social media. People write on this, so there's more visibility. As we always have.
So the perception that has increased, not necessarily the incidence of violence, but always been there.
And violence is not physical. There's so many dimensions and dynamics in households. You don't have to have a blue eye. We have a guy saying, I'm not giving my salary, I'm not doing this, please bring my food. That's violence, that's emotional. And we need to educate ourselves. Our communities need to educate themselves about the different types of violence happening. Because you don't have to walk with a blue eye, etc. So for us to understand that we ourselves in marriages at home are exposed to violence ourselves.
I was going to add that I think the thing is that with violence, even the advent of social media, I think that it's become much more transparent to all of us, but there's no form of accountability. So even in the mental health space, it's very challenging because in a way we feel exceptionally helpless because the stigma surrounding mental health will even take people like it's just non-existent. And so therefore, I think also being out in the world is that our public health sector has to do so much more to create awareness and educate people. There are channels that they can follow. And even though it's a bit of a slow process, there's a lot of calls you have to call in for even to reach someone that can do something. It does exist. And for me, a lot of the point, I want to bring I'll say more from, let's say, mental health, this sector is that I found it interesting that he chose a young boy as the narrator. So the book says a young boy, he's the narrator. And I thought for him at the beginning to be, unreliable with trusting a schoolboy to narrate the whole story. But then I thought that this is actually quite telling of our society that kids become adults when they are constantly exposed to elements like abuse, violence, foul language. They see their fathers going to the shootings, and they see their mothers being harmed in this way. And this, I think, perpetuates further the cycle of dysfunction because young kids are so impressionable. And so if you then first
students, we can just imagine how they think turn out. This is what they're constantly doing in first year. And learning was this intentional that you made the young boy the narrator.
In fact, yes, it was intentional, and there's various reasons for that. The first reason would be that the issue of gender-based violence and violence against women in general has become the it's become a field of expertise for the academics. They intellectualize the topic and they speak, aloof about the topic. They speak down to those who are actually people suffering from this very, very violent type of tendency in our society. And I thought to myself that how do I get this topic to be explained by people that are actually experiencing it, not people that are looking at it through a microscope and then telling the rest of society how to deal with it. But somebody that's actually feeling the brunt of this violent tendency. And so that was the one rationale for me using a boy as the narrator of the story. Because he sees it firsthand and he also experienced it firsthand. The second reason for it is children speak the truth. It's very, the more sophisticated and older we get, the more economical we start to get with the truth and treat the truth. But the child sees something directly. And I wanted to sort of challenge something that Zaya would see. I think he's a Nobel laureate also, South African laureate for literature. He said it's one of the most challenging things to have a child as one of the main characters, because they can't really think in the abstract yet. And that was precisely why I had a child to have the story told. He can't intellectualize what is happening. He tells us graphically what is happening. And that is what he is feeling. And somehow we have grown, sort of alien to our own feelings. Not the child. The child tells exactly what he sees and how he feels. And I thought if he tells the story, the reader will be able to identify with the intensity of that mind. Yeah.
I want to continue what you're saying because I found it very interesting. Because obviously this is generational, and giving it the child's perspective, she's saying what the next generation is going to do, and we don't always look at it as a generational situation, and also in terms of from a mental health situation. And just to emphasize what Raya said about the complicity of society in this, that in many ways we become silent. Now, in our Healing of Memories workshops, we create a space for women in a very confidential space to tell their stories, to share, and they're able to listen to it. Sometimes it is only women, sometimes it's men and women. They can begin to listen to the feelings and how people experience this violence, both empathy, solidarity, and so on. And the thing that sometimes comes through is not that we've gotten used to it. We are used to people not listening to us, and we are used to that people don't care. It's a hopelessness kind of situation. And people will tell you, is that it is, nothing is going to change, at this matter too, everybody's fixing. That kind of thing. And I think part of, what we try to do is bringing back that hope, is bringing people that confidence, which I think happens in the book, that confidence, when you bring people together, when you organize them, that they then find the power, not as an individual, but as a group, to be able to say, but I am here, we can bring change. But that change also comes at a great risk. And I think we bring that out in the book also quite powerfully, in terms of how it ends. And I like the book because it gives you both the situation but it also gives us pointers to what is the way forward. What is the way that we need to do in terms of how we're going to address this thing? And brings in, I think, also the almost, I don't know how you can call the double role of religion, you know? It's both a source of strength, but it's also a source of oppression, you know? And I think that is important, the way in which you bring it out very simply, that this is no easy answer, it's very easy, you know? Ek hou nie van my dere nie, maar my dere slap my ma, maar dere nie vir my na die gardens toe, you know? That thing of emotions, which is, it's not a 1, 2, and 3 straight line, you know, in terms of that. And I must commend you on being able to bring out this kind of layered approach to something which we want to say that we can solve it by doing 1, and that will lead to 2, and that will lead to 3. While it's a whole new misconception for more such.
I the point Aisha made earlier on about the little boys kind of maturity, and no child needs to have that kind of maturity at that age. This child is in grade 1. This child, and I'm sorry for the mother character, is more rational than the mother, knows more what is between right and wrong. At that young age, already knows it's wrong that Dera is eating morning. It's wrong that you are speaking and covering up what he's doing. What he's doing is wrong. No child should walk with that at that age. That child must then play outside. You know the reading that the child is playing beside one scene where the child is playing on the track. But this child can't be a child. And sometimes others and parents do not realize how we're taking that innocence away from children by making them do things. And an interesting point in the book, the mother always sends the child to the room because she knows already that every night when the father comes home, the father's going to eat it for whatever reason. Because she's speaking to somebody, speaking to her, the food isn't right, not enough money, or just any reason. And it's a culture that normally is supposed to eat and be a family and eat together. And this mother knows that she thinks she's doing the right thing by sending the child. So she's only putting a plaster on, but not addressing the real issue. But what was interesting for me, the neighbor came around and said, this guy, this husband killed his whole family. And the mother said to the neighbor, don't speak, I don't want my child to hear this. And what a contradiction is that not? Because I hear this child on a daily basis sees how this father is brutally abusing this mother. And why is that okay? And she doesn't want the child to know about what's happening. You know? And so these are the contradictions we know on a daily basis. And we have to sit back and think, how am I keeping my child away from being innocent and being a child? You know? So it's about what can we do at our own notes? How can we sit back and start thinking of what practices do we have at home that is not letting children be children?
And I'd like to add also the overarching theme that came throughout is actually as simple as just our choices. In the book, the mother comes in and she says, no, you chose this man as your husband, but your child did not choose this father. And so to me, even as a young woman reading this, I go, in that book, choice almost seemed like infinite reach, in the sense that all the choices she made was going to have such great impact on this child's future. And so I thought that was a really interesting point that how one person's choice in just selecting a partner against just this form of vacuum web of dysfunction. And we used to say that this is this child's early formative years, how was he then to go out? Because I think in the book, they sort of like, we allude to the fact that the father probably also had experienced dysfunction.
I think the father actually comes from a family where his father abused him and his mother, and there was a brother. But strangely enough, the brother is totally opposite. So they also,
And it doesn't stop there. So the father is not being exposed to disrespect, etc., and that kind of thing. But I mean, it's because of the kind of society we live in, and people take that to work for little bit of money, and the disrespect they are subject to at work. So in the book, the father comes along and says, "You are complaining about food. I have to be subjected to abuse." And so, because we are teaching men to be certain masculine and be a certain way, they are stripped from their masculinity at work because of the abuse that this father is being subjected to on a daily basis. So he feels that I am not a man, I am not the head of this household. So I'm going to go show in my safe space at home, I'm going to prove that I am still a man, I still have power, and I'm still the leader of this house, And so it is such a vicious cycle, because that's why I'm saying it's structural, because under capitalism, this guy has to be worked with peanuts, and be subjected to this.
And I think the other thing that comes through with this, that it's not just patriarchy, that it is capitalism, and it is religious oppression as well. That all these different layers. And through it all, the male, and I think that it's a male child, it's not a girl child. Children are chosen. And from the very start, the Sergio is telling the boy, big boy, there's a chunk about it. You're not supposed to cry. Boys don't cry. So the whole thing of suppression of emotion, not showing emotion, not being in touch of emotion. Now that's not the natural state for the human condition, right? So in us hardening ourselves, that's not normalized. That's not being resilient. That is being dysfunctional. And so we see this, and we sometimes frame these things as if it is normal, that it's a sign of resilience. No, for me, it's a sign of dysfunctionality. That we are teaching people that you have to suppress these emotions, you have to reinvent yourself. And then we say, because you can then function, that you can then function in the factory, wherever, and then we call that resilience, psychological resilience, which it is not, Because also apart from that, there's a racist, colonial attitude towards it. And I think we've been exposed to that now. It's as if then we as human beings, the black body goes through trauma, that we are not touched by it. We are so superhuman that we can just like sort of clap my down and say, "Somebody all right," and say, "Oh, okay, how she's coping with it so well." But the other layers of things which is going into people are not coping so well. Because it comes out in different other addictions, pornography, all of social things, these things come up. So I think you allude to so many of these, and sometimes the complexity of what it all comes together. But I think the whole thing of that the boy, there's a chunk about it, and throughout these struggles with it, in the book, even the father,
and he even takes responsibility for his mother.
Yeah.
I don't want to give away spoilers or anything, but there's a scene you guys will know what I'm talking about, where he goes into his bedroom and he leaves his door ajar. Not because he wants to hear, he was watching his mother because he sees her trying to do something. The child in grade 1 exposed to that. What does it do to the psyche of that child? It's really well studied.
I just want to Martin was saying something about language, and how we use the language. And if you look at the voice, you can media, it's
so important, and it has such a big impact on violence and gender-based violence. Because if you read on in the school, vrouw verkracht by pap, of she walked from the pub. Why is that important? Why are we talking about the victim and you hardly see the perpetrator? You know, so and it's about from the media how women are subjected to violence. You know, the courts when you go there, it's Zuma's rape case, any case. That judge will sit there and ask the woman, "What did you wear?" And you are now. You've been subjected to this by your community. Jy is oorgedra jou potjie. Why must people decide what I must wear? This is my body, my rights, my choice, and I decide what I want to wear. I'm not going to be subjected to, oh, you can't wear this nonsense, you know? And so why can a guy at a family function come with the shorts and I can't? What makes him so special? So it's these things, but we must really look at our language in terms of how we ourselves, when we talk to our girls and boys, how we also subject and minimize the different genders that exist. And I mean, we don't live in a society where there are two genders, but that's a topic for another day. Yeah, that can open up a can of worms. But the one thing I want to say in terms of language, and it's not now, but it's about how we teach our children and the language that we use. So we teach our girls to dress a certain way, and we teach our girls not to get raped. But we don't teach our boys not to rape. And if you look at growing up, people would say, "Oh, say you're a virgin." But have you ever heard any community say, "I can see me a virgin"? You talk about the boy. You never hear that. People actually say congratulations. But if you lost your virginity as a boy, of course there's going to be the girl who's, you know. So, but we often we treat girls so violently, you know, that you must dress and you must look after yourself for your husband. No, you must look after yourself for yourself, not for your husband. And so it is about how we are raising and what becomes a culture and what is really normalized in our household, which is so the other solutions. Of course, the solutions. Smash patriarchy. I think for me, even on a simple level, it's at the end I thought, what role do we as mental health professionals have within spaces like in mental health in these great statements? And a very practical solution for me is that government needs to invest much more money into ensuring that each school has school counselors. If we think about the virtual that they spend how many hours at school, it's and so much, we can do so much work at schools. And I know we have other works, and I think they're quite outdated. But if we invest in mental health professionals to be at schools, I think that will solve somewhat, not the obviously the big problem, but it's a step towards it. And I think also a big step is our NGOs. Our NGOs bridge the gap between the private sector of mental health and the public sector. I last year volunteered at an NGO called the Counseling Hub. They actually did good stuff. And they seek to bridge that gap where women only not women, anyone can come, but you only pay 50 and we even counsel young kids. And it's NGOs like this that put the work to ensure that mental health is accessible.
I mean, the Institute for Healing working space, but with a very, very particular approach to it, right? So we will always talk about that we are healers of each other. So there's whole thing of taking ownership of your life and your own healing, right? And that just accepting that there are certain people that we